Hello everyone, in this video I will show you how to get started with Krita for absolute beginners. And when I started using this program, I was a beginner myself too. I didn't know anything about drawing or drawing software at that moment, so I understand all the confusion that you may have. And I hope that I will be able to answer most of your questions by the end of this video. And by this time, I already have quite a lot of hours in this program, so I guess I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, let's get straight to the point. When you open Krita, you see something like this. There is recent images, but you have none. And to create a new image, you should look in the top left corner of your screen. There would be a new image button. When you click on it, there is a scary window which pops up with a lot of stuff which you don't understand, I guess. So don't worry. The only thing that you may want to change is width and height. I usually leave it at 2000 pixels by 2000 pixels. And don't worry, you can always resize it later if you want. For example, like this, but we'll get to that later. So what I know is that many beginners are pushed away by the Krita's GUI, because there is a lot of stuff going on. There is a lot of stuff you don't really know what to do. So let's start with the easiest thing that we can do. Let's start customizing it with themes. You can go to settings, then themes, and there is different themes that you can select. Just pick any that you like and it's done. Now let's talk about the dockers. What is the docker? The docker is these little boxes which you see around you. For example, this one. It's a color selector. Let me put it back. For example, here is layers too. So all of that stuff is called the docker. If you will go to settings, dockers, you can disable some of them, and I will show you which are not that relevant, but of course, if you want to leave them here, there, you can do that. I will just show you what I would do, because when I was a beginner, all of this was really confusing to me. Anyway, let's look at the top right screen. There is a color palette, and there is a specific color selector. We don't really need it because it's complicated, so just click on the cross to close the docker. Nice. Now, a little lower from that point, there is layers, brush presets, and tool options. And we don't really need brush presets. Again, if you want it, you can leave it, but I will close it because I prefer opening brushes from a different place. And if you wanna know where that place is, just look at the top left of your screen. There is this little icon with the preview of your current brush. If you will click on it, all the brushes are opening in the much larger window. It's much more comfortable for me. You can select all of the brushes. I don't know, play around with those brushes, but we'll get to the brushes later. Let's continue talking about the dockers. So all of this is already like all we need. If we will open dockers, it's an advanced color selector, layers, tool options, and toolbox. Toolbox is this little box on the left of your screen. You can see all of the tools that you may want to use. To know what that tool does, you can just hover over it and it will tell what it is. For example, I'm hovering over this one and it tells me a freehand brush tool, so you can just draw with it. Then there is line, rectangle, and different stuff, for example, a bucket tool. So yeah, you can just hover over them, I don't know, try all of them. It's really useful, because at least you will know what you can do. So now let's look at... Okay, before we start using different tools, if you like how everything looks, you can always resize it. If you want a bigger palette, you can just resize it like that, and it will change the size if you want to be more precise with your colors. So if you like how everything looks, you go to the window, workspace, new workspace, and you just name it whatever you like. So I will name it 3. And now if I will go to the window workspace and I will click on 3, it will load everything how it looks around me. For example, if I will click on something else, like this, it will open a different workspace. You can just try all of them. Maybe you will like some of the presets, but I will leave it at 1. Okay, let's just get back to 3, the one which we made just now. So that's how it looks. Nice. If you're wondering how to get that square color palette, because I know I was wondering the same question when I was just starting out really much. I really wanted a different color palette. I mean color selector. So to get it, you go to Settings, Configure Krita, scroll down, and then there is Color Selector Settings. If you will click on this area, on that square, you will have a triangle, I guess. Now you see there is a triangle, a square circle, and a bunch of different ones. For example, a triangle. That's what you usually will see at the beginning. But I like this square because it's really comfy for me. For example, if we will resize it, on the bottom left of this color selector, it's the darkest colors and the least saturated. So it's just black and white. Here is the black, here is gray, here is white. On the right side, it's the same thing, but the most saturated. Again, the black line, the saturated blue, and the most saturated blue. If you will select somewhere at the center, it will be like half saturated. Not that saturated, just move it to the left and it's even less saturated. I guess you understand how this one works now. Okay, let's size it down again, so it will not take as much space. We have a bunch of lines. To move them, you can select a freehand selection tool and just select around them. And then you can just pick this transform a layer or selection tool, and it will select the area like that. You can move it around, you can rotate it, you can twist it, squish it. It looks like worms. Just resize it however you like. And if you will right click on it, it will open a menu with a bunch of other options. For example, mirror horizontal, mirror vertical, rotate 90 degrees clockwise, rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise. You can even select perspective and do whatever this is, but we don't really need it now. Also, if you're wondering what this little dot at the center is, it's like a point of rotation. If you will leave it at place, it will just rotate around the center of your selection. If you will move it somewhere to the side, you will rotate around this point, so it will rotate like this. Like it's attached to this point and you're just rotating it. So it's really useful. It helped me a lot. To clear the selection, there should be an option somewhere here. Here there is deselect, but you can just click with the selection once and it will deselect it too. So that's pretty nice too. Anyway, what we're interested in right now is tool options. They're very important and they're really useful. For example, if you're drawing with the mouse, let me select a darker color, and your line comes shaky, even if you're trying to be as smooth as possible, you can see all of these small jaggy lines, like you cannot really draw smoothly. That's where tool options come in. There is brush smoothing. So you select tool options and then there is brush smoothing. You select stabilizer, pixel or weighted. I like the weighted one and I will explain how it works. So, the weighted one. If I'm pulling it, the brush just slowly follows my cursor. It's like the weight is attached to a string. For example, you're pulling it here, and it will just slowly follow it. Like you're pulling it on a string, like, let me just draw a hand. I'm drawing with the mouse because that's how most beginners draw, so just for the immersion. So, for example, you're pulling it and it just slowly follows it. If you will pull it here, it will not follow it like this. It will just follow the string like this, slowly rotating, and it's really nice. It smooths out the lines, it makes it much more precise, and it's really useful. I like it. So let's see. If we will select the weighted, you can change the strength of that stabilization. If you will have it at max, you can see that this little dot inside of the circle, when I'm moving it, okay, let me just scroll back a bit. When I'm moving it, the brush just slowly follows it. And again, if you're wondering how to get that little dot inside of the circle, because I know that I did not have it when I was a beginner, or I somehow turned it off, I don't know, you go to Settings, Configure Krita, General, Cursor, and then the first option is Brush Cursor Icon. You can select Small Circle and any of these other ones, for example, Crosshair. Okay, now you see a crosshair, just like in some FPS game. So you see that the brush just follows my crosshair. And I like this feature because it shows where I'm drawing, especially with those stabilizers. You see where you have to pull for it to actually draw the line which you would want. For example, if we want to draw some line, now I want to go to the left and I need to make a much wider range of movement for it to slowly turn around. Because if I will just turn left, it will not follow it like it would do with the basic brush like this. So you see that it slowly rotates. And it's really nice if you want really smooth lines even when you're drawing with the mouse. I wish I knew it back when I started drawing. It is so useful. Anyway, I haven't talked about how to erase your lines. Again, if you will look to the top left, you see this brush. But you have to go a little to the right and you see an eraser. Also you see a keybind in the parentheses. I hope I pronounced it right. Anyway, if you will click on this, you can erase now. And you see that letter in that name, right? So you can just click on that letter. You can click E and you will erase. To stop erasing, you just click E again and now you're drawing. So, pretty easy, right? You don't even have to select your brush again. You just enabling the eraser and then clicking again to unenable it. I don't know. Disable it. My bad. Anyway, yeah. So now you know how to draw, how to erase, how to select colors, how to enable stabilizers. Let's talk about the colors. We should create a new layer. For that, you have to look at the bottom right of your screen. I mean, or somewhere where your layers docker is. Then there is a plus sign, which says add new layer or mask. You're adding a new layer, and you can just pull it down for the lines to be under your current lines. I mean, under the lines which are on top. For example, you're drawing and you see that these lines are on top. So if you want to fill it with the color, you just have to put it below the line art, unless you want it to be on top. Anyway, with that fill tool, bucket tool, that's where the tool options come in again. That's why it's really useful, the tool options. You will have to configure it pretty oftenly. So, for example, you want to fill some area without the lines. Wow, okay, I had to cut this video because there were some difficulties. When I tried to change the settings, it would still fill within this area. I could not understand why, but now I see that in this layer there is something white and it was just filling that white area. And for example, look, if I'm filling it, it should fill from the current layer, but the lines are on top. It's not from the current layer. So I was really confused. Let me just delete it and you'll see if I will try to fill it again, it will just fill everything. So yeah, now it works. I don't know how that ended up there, but it just messed up my video. Anyway, so tool options. By the default, it would be fill a contiguous region and reference fill regions found from the active layer. So if your line is on the different layer, it will just ignore it and fill everything it sees. These lines, the purple ones, are on this layer, so it does not ignore them and you see the white spots. So if you would fill it with the lines, you see that it's really sharp and it's not really nice. That's why we're filling on the different layer. But how to fill on the different layer? If it just ignores the lines, you go to the tool options, reference, and there is an option fill regions found from the margin of all layers. So it will look at all layers and it will see that there is the line and it will stop at that line and it will not fill anything else. And if you will look at that layer, you see that there is only color, so I can disable the line and there is just the color. And I can do the same with the color. Also to hide the layer, you can just click on this eye. Yeah, just for you to know, so you would know what I'm doing. Anyway, again, the fill tool, the defaults would be, it would feel like this. For example, you see these white spots. It's because these pixels are not fully transparent or fully colored. So it just stops at the difference. So it sees the difference in color and it stops. And what you can do about it? You can go to adjustments and just add 1 pixel or 2 pixels of the growth You can adjust it to how much you like. For example, 23 pixels, it just grows over the line. But if you want it to be nice, you're just selecting 1 or 2 pixels, and if you will, I don't know, change the opacity of the line layer, you can see that there is a pixel under the line. And that's why it's I'm sorry. That's why there is no more white spots. Because it just ignores them and grows the color 1 pixel more, where these white pixels were. Anyway, let's look at the layers now, one of the most important things in all of the drawing softwares. And let's do some basic stuff with them. For example, you want to rename your layer. You can right-click, go to Properties and rename it here. But you can do it much easier by just double-clicking and renaming it like that. I will name this one as lines, because there is a lot of lines. And I will name the other one as colors. You can also, let me just draw some lines. For example, this line, new layer, this line, new layer, and this one. There is 3 different lines, and you can group them together by selecting all of them. Like you selected them, then right-click, group, quick group. And now all of these layers are grouped. You can just make them hidden, change the opacity of the whole group, or just close the group for the layers to take up less space in your already not really spacey area of all of the layers. You can delete it too. We don't need it now. Or maybe we do. Okay, let it be. Anyway, what else we can do? We can create a new layer and, for example, put it below the colors. I guess you maybe know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna draw some different color beneath this one. And now I'm clicking on the colors layer and we're gonna change its properties. Let's select the blending mode. It's just above the opacity. Yeah, you can change the opacity by just dragging this. Oh, it's even called. My bad, I'm sorry. Anyway, blending mode, you click on it. And there is a bunch of options. You can add more by clicking on these arrows and selecting some of the ones which you may need. But it's a bit advanced stuff. So you can just select from favorites, but if you want more, you can just click select and you will have it in favorites. Anyway, you click on screen, or you click on saturation. It just changes its properties depending on what's beneath it. For example, if I will remove this color, boom, there is no color. Multiply, removing color, it's still like that. It's like regular, but if there is some different color, it just makes it darker. So that's how you apply blending modes. There is a lot of them, actually. So I guess you will find everything you may need. Feel free to just play with those blending modes and see what looks the best. So that's almost everything. Oh yeah, almost forgot. For example, lines layer. We can color it by right-clicking and selecting some of the colors which we can see here. I will color it as purple, so you can see that in a bunch of layers it stands out. You can color some of your important layers, or you can even color the whole group. You color the group and now the whole group is red. So let's go to the line layer. Very actually useful feature is how it's called. I don't remember. how it's called, but you can click on this. Oh wait, let's see. It's called an alpha lock. So if you will click on this, I don't know, checkered board, like a transparency, and you will see lock, now you're able to draw only within those lines. For example, if I want to color something, let me pick a red color. You see that only the line is being colored. I wish I would know this sooner, because before I got to know this, I tried to just color it like that. It took me so much time and it was so inaccurate. It just looked bad. If I would know that I can just click once and color everything at once, like this, it would be so much easier. It is such a life-saving feature, like I can color it however I want, and it's so fast and easy. It's really nice. Also, yeah, if you will click on this lock, it will prevent you from deleting this layer or moving it around. It will just create a copy if you will try to move it. It will just lock it in place. So, yeah, that's it. That was actually not everything. I remembered some stuff that I wanted to show, so if you want to flip your canvas, you just go to Image, Mirror Image horizontally. And it's flipped now. Your canvas is flipped. You can undo it and it's unflipped. You can even mirror it vertically, but I don't know who would want to mirror it vertically. Anyway, yeah, that's another thing. Okay, there is sudden interruption, I'm sorry. I just wanted to show another thing which I completely forgot about when I was editing a video. I saw it and I just forgot to show it. For example, you drew something, okay? And right here, you can rotate your canvas. You can just rotate it and maybe draw with the more comfortable for you angle. So it's really useful. If you will pull it really far, you can rotate it even more precisely. But if you will stay within this circle, it will just snap to the percentages, the predefined percentages. So yeah, that was it. Okay. I'm not gonna take much more time. Continue to watch. I know, another interruption. I'm sorry, I just remembered another thing. And it's so late, I keep remembering stuff that I forgot to show and now I have to re-render the whole video. Anyway, to assign a keybind, you just want to look at your toolbar here, or how it's called. I forgot already, I'm sorry. So, you wanna hover over the tool that you want to reassign. For example, I want to reassign this tool which is called measure the distance between 2 points. You just remember this name, then you go to the settings, configure Krita, keyboard shortcuts, and now you type measure, and here is the measurement tool, default none, custom. Now you have to click here, and now it's waiting for your input. You're clicking on the key that you want, reassigning if that thing is not important to you, if you're not using it, and pressing OK. So now I can draw, and just by clicking a single button, now I have a ruler and I can measure the distance between 2 points. So that's how the keybinds work. And it's actually really useful. It saves a lot of time because, for example, you can draw, you can erase, you can move, you can select, delete, you can select and fill, you can move, you can do this and everything without ever looking to the side in this toolbar. So it's really, really useful. Anyway, enjoy the video. Keep watching. I'm sorry for these interruptions. For example, add a dark background, and now let's draw, I don't know, a fishy. on a different layer. There would be a fish. See, there is a fish. Now you can copy it and go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. And now you can adjust the strength, the radius of the blur, and just make it the way like it would glow. You can copy it to make it stronger or just blur it even more. Gaussian blur. I'm blurring the different layer just for you to know. 80. And now see, there is the huge radius blur and there is small radius blur, and it looks like this fish is glowing. Also, that's where that alpha lock tip comes in handy, because you cannot really draw over, a gradient just with your brush, because it would mess it up. Like, you cannot match all the single pixel, and it would take a lot of time. But what you can do, you can turn on alpha lock, and now just color everything, and now it glows with the different color. You can even change the colors with which it glows. It's just really cool. There is so many options, possibilities, I don't know how to call it. But yeah, I really like it a lot. I just wanted to show it. So, in Filter, there is a lot of cool stuff. A lot. So, just for you to know. Also, let me copy it. This and that. And now the fish glows even stronger. So yeah, that was it. So now, for example, you want to save your image as a project, for now. You go to the top left corner of your screen, there is File, Save As. You can just click Save if you haven't saved it before, but I saved it, so if I will click Save, it will just save it and won't show anything. It will save the changes. So I clicked Save As, and it saves as Krita document. I can name it 1, or let it be 2. Okay, save. Now it's saved. If I will close it, it will show here in the recent images. So I can just click on it and, for example, continue drawing. But how to save it as an image? I guess maybe you already know. Just click on File, Export. You type the name. Here you can select all the possible file types. I will just leave it as a PNG. Save. Now the important part is the compression. It will usually be at 6 or something like that. You want it to be at 1, so it will be lossless without losing any quality, the original quality of the image. All of these check marks, I guess you can leave it as it is for me. Just force convert to sRGB, I guess it's by the defaults. And another important thing is store alpha channel transparency. For example, if you're making a transparent image, like, where is it? If you will remove the background, you see that there is a transparency, and you can just export it as 2. Okay, and if you will open your image, it will be transparent, like you can see through it. But if that option would be disabled, save, yes. If we will disable store alpha channel, you will see that it is no longer transparent. Even though there is no background and it is transparent here, it will not save as a transparent one. So that's why you need to have the store alpha channel transparency. Okay, so that's how you save your image. And now you have the project and the image. And you can just open this image. And here it is. Also, if you accidentally clicked like forget this project and oh no, where is your project? How to even open it again? You go to File, Open, and now you look for that project with the KRA type, the Krita project. You now open it, closing it, and here it is again. Well, that was it. It was kinda long. I'm sorry that I made it a little messy. I don't know, was forgetting stuff. But I tried my best. I hope it helped at least a little bit. Bye bye.